Up next, we have our last graduate student presenter, Uma the Tornado Nagendra from the Peterson Lab, and her talk is titled Disturbed Relationships. Can tornadoes change plant-soil interactions?
In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina blew through my hometown. I came back to find houses moved off their foundations, magnificent trees uprooted or snapped in two. Natural disturbances like these are very powerful, yes. But to me, what's even more powerful is what happens afterwards. Recovery and regrowth. We saw this in New Orleans, that people can get together and rebuild. But I'll tell you what, forests are even better at it. They do it all the time. We see landscapes that look barren for 1 year. The next year, they're full of lush green life. When I saw this after Katrina, I wanted to know more. And it turns out we know a good deal about what species come back, but we haven't looked as much at how tornadoes change, how species interact. And species interactions are really important for ecosystems. Take plants and soil, for instance. In 1 gram of soil, you have millions of bacteria and fungi doing really important jobs. Soil is how plants get the resources they need. And they can't just get up and walk to a new location that has better stuff. So they're at the mercy of those soil organisms to either help them or take advantage of them. It's the relationship between the plant and soil that can determine whether that tree can spread out and dominate an ecosystem or have a diversity of neighbors. And it's not as simple as friend or enemy. It's also about how close that relationship is. You have some friends that you're really close with, like your best friends, but also people you just share cat pictures with on Facebook. The same goes for negative interactions. There's arch enemies like the Joker who just wants to get at Batman. Also some guys who are just jerks to everybody. The specialist relationships are like the best friends of the arch enemies. They really just involve a few species. There are others that are generalists that affect just about everybody. And because they affect just about everybody, it's the specialists that can make it or break it for a particular plant. What I expect to see after a tornado, such an abrupt change in the environment, is that the generalists would be more able to survive the disaster, which means you'd end up with an ecosystem that's full of Facebook friends and jerks, which affect everybody equally. So any disadvantage or advantage that a tree would have in an ordinary situation wouldn't necessarily be there. And although I first got interested in this from Hurricane Katrina, this is an issue for not just the Gulf Coast. The past few years, we've seen Hurricane Sandy and tornadoes ripping through Oklahoma and Alabama and Georgia. We're seeing stronger hurricanes and more frequent tornadoes, especially in the eastern U.S. So I want to see how these changes to our environment could affect our forests here in Georgia.